All right, everyone, welcome to the show. If you're new here, Mike and I teach people like yourself how to build an online business portfolio, and we believe that it all starts with high ticket drop shipping so you can get positive cash flow quick to reinvest. So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. The topic is how to deal with bad customers on your e-commerce store. So if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe to us on your platform of choice, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever podcast platform you use so that you don't miss any updates. So without further ado, let's get right into it. How to deal with bad customers. Now, in our business, Mike is the head point of customer service. Now, we have VAs and employees under him that deal with these things head on, but Mike still receives the pretty much 100% of all customer interaction for our businesses. So and he's just now back from his whole excursion in Thailand and Bali and stuff like that. So we're very happy to have him back on the show. So, Mike, let's start off by why don't you just give a general answer to the question of how to deal with bad customers, and then I want to ask you like about our worst customer ever and how you dealt with it.
Okay, so yeah, it's good to be back. So I would say the best way to deal with bad customers is to not deal with them. And what I mean by that is if you're, you know, if you're trying to create a store that supports your ideal lifestyle, supports your financial goals, the last thing you want to do is be dealing with bad customers and dealing with issues. And so, you said I handle 100% of the customer interaction. Um, to clarify, I don't handle a lot of the incoming calls or emails or anything at that point. I just oversee the customer interactions, and I will do sales calls if I want, or, if something is really bad, I will step in. But so my main takeaway for how to deal with bad customers, if you can possibly afford to hire a VA, whether it's in the Philippines or in the US, to deal with your customer service, that is 100% something you should do, because dealing with bad customers is mentally draining. It takes a toll on you. It takes away your time to actually grow the business. And, for $4 an hour, you can hire someone who is very competent at handling customers. And, however much your business is making, I think if you're at the point where you can spare, $4 an hour to put someone in that place, it's absolute necessity. Once you stop dealing with these customers, then you will not know how you dealt with it before. But
Yeah,
so
no,
you
no, go
know,
ahead. Go ahead.
so that's the first thing off the bat. The second thing is to avoid the possibility of those customers even coming, you know, to you. And usually when customers get upset, it's not your fault. It's usually the supplier's fault for not sending tracking on time, or sending something through a bad carrier that gets broken, or just providing a bad product. And so I sent an email out to, our subscribers about this the other day, about how to really deal with toxic supplier relationships. And those bad suppliers will really be the cause of a lot of your headaches. Things will happen here and there no matter what. This is life. Things are going to happen. If you're selling expensive products, it's well worth it to, you're making $300 per sale, $1,000 per sale. Something is bound to happen no matter how good your suppliers are here and there. And that's just the cost of doing business. You want, some people want websites where they don't have to deal with anything. It's just set it and forget it. And that's almost a fairy tale in the online world, because if you're not dealing with customer service through the dropship model, then you don't have the advantages of getting quick cash flow, of, huge profit numbers per sale. And so it's just a double-edged sword. But you can mitigate that by getting yourself out of the actual, dealing with the customers, the existing customers face to face, or, ear to ear. And then also really being quick to weed out bad suppliers. And that will bring down your, your mental capacity having to deal with bad customers by, a very high percentage.
Yeah, and I think so. Let me ask you a question. When it
Mhm.
comes to refunding customers quickly. Do you recommend that, or is it circumstantial? Like, what I'm trying to get at is, if you have a bad customer and it's like, okay, maybe the order hasn't shipped out yet, and you could tell this person is just going to be a pain. Are you quick to be like, all right, refund them, just get them out of here?
I'm, you know, I don't have a problem with that mindset. And there are definitely some people who do that. If they think a customer is going to be a bad seed, they will not even proceed with the sale. So that's certainly a tactic you can employ. I think starting out, a lot of people will be hesitant to do that because it will be, it's money, right? You're going to be making a couple $100, and you're thinking, okay, maybe, once he gets it, it'll be dealt with, and then it'll be over. But that's also something that I want to stress. Like, no matter how bad a customer is, in a month or a week or 2 weeks from now, you'll look back and you will not be dealing with the situation anymore 99% of the time. So it's good to just have that mind state about it. But I typically I won't cut a customer off before it ships, but if a customer is really giving me a hard time, I don't want to have a chargeback against the business, because that can lead to Shopify taking action against you if you get too many, which we've never seen happen, but I just don't want to deal with a chargeback. So also, there's better things you can do than dealing with bad customers. So if you can afford to just not deal with them and just refund them, have it returned, absorb the shipping fee, whatever, then by all means do that. But starting out, I think if you're watching this video, then, that may not be the best option for you. Like big companies like Amazon and Wayfair, they don't care about one particular transaction. They're public companies. They'll just refund you for whatever. So we're in a bit of a different situation. This is, our livelihood. This is, our assets, and we need to deal with it in a particular way. So, if you don't want to really be the nice guy and refund them, you need to make sure that all of your interactions are done via email. That way, if they do file a chargeback or, whatever, then you have everything on record to say, okay, this is everything that's happened has been complicit with our policies. And then you show that if they file a chargeback, and you can most likely win it. The only time we really lose chargebacks, knock on wood, is when it's an actual fraud purchase and we happen to ship it not realizing, which is a whole different episode. But yeah, cover your bases. I really prefer, if a customer is bad, I don't want to deal with them over the phone because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to have them yelling at me, but I also want to make sure that everything that happens is on record, and it also gives you more time to plan out appropriate responses and everything like that. So keep it to email if at all possible.
Yeah, for sure. I think having that paper trail is extremely, extremely important. Especially just because it's a balancing act, and you, especially, not even payment processor aside, chargebacks aside, you want to be able to point out to the customer, like, no, I told you this, this, and this on this date, because people have a short-term memory. People just they'll say something and not even realize what they're saying, and that it's already been discussed. So real quick, Mike, I wanted to ask you for a little bit of a story, and of course we're going to leave any names and transactions confidential here. What was our worst customer ever? Like, what was the circumstance, and how was it dealt with?
So I really have to take a second to think about it. Do you have one in mind?
I remember,
because usually the worst customers will make it into your...
Yeah, I guess I usually get wind of them. Well, the one that sticks out to me was that one of our first stores, the one that we actually sold, we were in the car together. It was many years ago, and we got a voicemail, and the lady was like, "This is the worst company ever." And I think it was because
I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was because it was like around the holiday season. So there was a gifting opportunity or some sort of occasion, and the opportunity to give the gift was missed because of a supplier's mishap with the shipping time. So she was naturally very upset. Um,
Okay.
and then I just
Oh,
remember back and forth, back and forth. She's yelling, she's leaving voicemails. Um, so yeah, even if we can't come up with a story, I mean,
well,
they
I can share a few. I don't know, to figure out the top one would be I'd really have to take some time, but um about 2 years ago, last time I was in Thailand, so we had a really bad customer, and part of the issue was our fault because not our fault, but the supplier's fault because um he ordered a particular product, and as we teach, it's actually really likely to get customers to wait for a product. Um, and we have templates for that inside of the course, and we go more in depth about that. But so the
just to
customer
clarify,
agreed
you
to,
you kind of misspoke there. Is that if something is on back order, you
yeah,
should reach. Yeah.
something was on back order, and the customer agreed to wait for it.
Okay.
So we teach you how to do that inside our course. But long story short, he had agreed to wait, and the date kept getting pushed back, and he kept agreeing to wait. He kept agreeing to wait, and so the time came where these units actually came in, and um, there wasn't enough for him. We had a line of customers waiting, and the amount that came in, he was not going to get any. And so at this point, he had been nagging us and just not being very nice to us during this entire process. And if I refunded him, it would he'd be even worse off. So I tried to, I figured eventually he'll get his unit in, he'll be happy, whatever. So now this happens, and I know it's gonna be a problem. And I'm in Thailand right now. So I have my employee at the time. She's sending out the emails. She's dealing with the situation. And I get, a message in the middle of the night that this guy is just harassing her nonstop. You know, he's calling her names. He won't stop calling, all this stuff. So basically, I'm like, all right, I'm calling this guy from Thailand, and I'm going to deal with this right now. And basically, it was a bit of a heated conversation, but he had explained that, he basically he had his house burned down, and he was working on getting his new house built. And if he didn't get, this unit, he wouldn't be able to do something with the insurance, and he would have a whole issue to deal with the insurance. So now, I feel bad for this guy, even though he's been, less than ideal. If he had just explained the situation from the beginning, that would have been one thing. But now we're at this point. I don't have a unit for him. And so what we did was, we basically decided on a different unit that he can get that was more expensive, but, we decided to take the hit for him because it just wasn't worth, the extra few $100s that we would lose. We were doing a lot in sales at that point. And so it's just, in a couple of weeks, you're not even going to notice it. In the end, we sold the site, and we got the lump sum from that website, and now it's dead and gone. So, in the end, if a customer is upset, usually there's a reason for it. So it's always good to try and understand why they're upset first, and just do the right thing. But I think it really comes down to your particular financial situation and just how much you want to fight with a particular customer.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind you are dealing with a person at the other end of the conversation, and there are legitimate some customers are just a pain, just because
Mhm.
that's their personality. But sometimes there are like legitimate reasons why someone could be upset, like your business could be affecting something in their life, and I think in those situations it's important to extend some sympathy and do whatever you can to help them.
Yeah, and if you want to be involved in this world of commerce, of e-commerce, you know, there is always this person-to-person interaction, and this is just a consequence of having your own business. Is you have to make these decisions on how you're going to deal with people, and if you're going to take a hit, if you're going to take a loss, if you don't want to take the loss, and that's just part of the game. So it's nothing to, look down upon or kind of get discouraged about because again, you know, these things only happen with regularity or, even close to regularity when you're doing a lot of volume. So if you're at the point where you're, maybe every month, once a month, once every other month, you have to deal with like a bad apple, it's not a big deal for you. If you're just starting out and you're doing 20,000 a month in sales, 30,000 a month in sales, and which is that's going to be a couple $1,000s a month for you, which is good. You're not going to have to deal with these people much. It's just these are rare occasions, especially if you're keeping close eye on your suppliers and your products, and you're dealing with the customers in a good way. You're also you're providing them transparency. You're answering them on time. That'll usually keep most customers at bay. They want communication
Yeah.
above all else.
Yeah.
So
Communication.
if you're lacking communication, then that's when they're going to start to get mad because they don't know you. You're just a random business on the internet, and that you need to know that as well. You need to understand that these people, they don't know if you're a scam website or not, and that's how powerful the internet is. They'll trust you enough to still buy from you, but in the back of their minds, they're not 100% sold that you're, they don't know how legit you are, how
Yeah.
good of a company you are. So you have to show them that.
Yeah. So three key takeaways here. Number one tip to dealing with bad customers: don't deal with them. Outsource as soon as possible. You don't want them taking up your mental energy. Second thing is communication is key. Third thing is that don't forget that any issue with a customer is going to be gone just as quick as it came on. When I worked at a restaurant, I worked at IHOP for a while, and my friend who was working there for like 20 years or something, one of the things he told me was like, look, all the customers have a tendency to get upset before they get their food. But then after they're done eating, if the food takes long to come out, say there's like, it's busy. They're all like, where's my food? Where's my food? Where's my food? But then when they're done eating, that goes away. They're not complaining about that anymore. So as long as the food comes out, it comes out good. Usually, again, it's maybe a bad analogy, but the point is that these issues tend to be dead and gone in a short amount of time. Don't stress about them. Develop systems to deal with them, and that's it. So, any last words?
That's it. I think we really covered it. Like you said, outsource and just continue to grow your business, and that'll alleviate any of the losses you might take or any of the mental energy you might waste.
Sounds good. All right. Don't forget, guys, please visit buildassetsonline.com/playbook for our free course. If you're on YouTube, please leave us any comments. We try and answer every single one. And don't forget to rate us on iTunes or whatever podcast platform you're using. So that's it for now. See you guys next time.